All right, folks, we got major XRP inflows on the way. We're already tracking the tens of billions of net inflows that have come into the crypto ETF products already, just after being live for a little over a year. And this is without any XRP ETFs other than a couple futures ETFs that have just gone live within the past couple months. But we're looking at the spot ETFs, the amount of inflows that we've seen already into the Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a couple others. And we're going to see these inflows get unleashed on XRP once they go live. And we know that this is coming because we're going to show you here in today's update. We're getting attention from the degens in the Solana ecosystem and the degen ecosystem. But we also have the suits lining up to sell it with they're already presenting their ETF products and basically the white papers and the prospectus for these products, getting everybody ready and lined up. And we're going to see major inflows coming into XRP. Now, this is after yesterday's video where I ran you guys through the math using our market cap multiplier on how much we would need to see in inflows into XRP to see a $100 XRP. Now, that wasn't a price prediction of a $100 XRP. It was a hypothetical scenario. Hey, what's it going to take for us to get to $100? So please understand the difference between the two. But I'm going to show you in today's update the real data on how much we've seen coming into Bitcoin and the other ETFs so far. Then we can speculate a little bit on XRP. And I think you guys are going to be wanting to hold on, lock in, and maybe pick up a little bit more. Check it out. So we got the CPI released today. We call it the CPI lie. The month over month did grow by 0.2% for both the CPI and core. But year over year, we did see a decline from 2.4 to 2.3%. So inflation is coming back down. CPI core stayed at 2.8% year over year. So while everybody was worried about tariffs causing inflation, so far we've actually seen deflation over the past few months, as a matter of fact. So inflation is coming back down. It's still present though, and we still have that aggregate compounded inflation that has our daily life still twice as expensive as it was back pre-2020, right? So does anybody feel relief seeing these headlines that the CPI is coming down? Not at all. But the good news, and why we should get a little bit excited here, is because this is more ammunition and more reasoning for the Fed to cut rates, which is inevitably around the corner. And that's going to send our market a lot higher. Now, speaking of money coming in a major way, Saudi Arabia announces that they will invest $600 billion in the United States. So I'm going to have to get an update from President Trump, but we're well over 5-6 trillion plus of commitments, investments back into the United States, whether that be our own companies like Apple, Nvidia, and others, SoftBank, etc., or whether it be countries like Saudi Arabia who are ready to sign a check and invest $600 billion in the United States of America. President Trump and the Saudi crown signing an economic deal today. This is on the back of the trade deal with China also getting structured and the tariffs being reduced. So tariff fears have subsided. Inflation's coming back down. Everything's lining up for us to get a reverse, a little bit of easing from the Fed. And this is all the ammunition that we need to see these markets go a lot higher. Now, I wanted to address the timeline on the SEC versus Ripple case. When will Judge Torres respond? Our good friend Fred Rispoli comes in here and answers by saying, this filing is the first time that Torres is hearing about it, meaning the settlement agreement. And he says, I would guess 2 to 3 weeks until we get a response. There's a chance she could surprise them. And what he means by that is not agreeing to the settlement and lifting the injunction, what both parties are asking. But that is low because the clear case law from her bosses on the Second Circuit tell her she should accept, barring some blatantly unfair reason not to. So it's pretty much a guarantee that she is going to lift the injunction. She is going to accept this. And we are going to see this SEC versus Ripple case settled up here in the next month. So we're looking for a response from Judge Torres over the next couple weeks. There's about 1, 2, maybe 3 more filings. And then this case is officially over. So you have about a month to prepare for that. Lock in. New York City Mayor Eric Anom says he was laughed at for converting his paychecks into crypto. He says, all I can say is, who is laughing now? As he announced yesterday, He wants to make New York City the capital of crypto in the world. So Mayor Eric Adams pushing crypto, accepting crypto. We love to see it. I don't love to see some of the other things that he's done and the way that New York is being ran, but at least they got that going for them, right? Now, this is where it gets exciting, folks. The OCC, federal banking system, is well positioned to engage in digital asset activities. The OCC interpretive letters 1183 and 1184 clarify and confirm that national banks may engage in certain crypto asset activities, provided they do so in a safe, sound, and fair manner. So we're seeing the SEC hosting roundtables with BlackRock, Fidelity, NASDAQ, etc. about tokenization yesterday. We got last week the OCC giving the green light for national banks to engage in cryptocurrency. They submit 2 more letters providing additional clarity on such points. And this is what I'm saying. When you combine the regulations getting passed with the monetary policy, which is about to ease up, you hone in on specific catalysts for XRP, you know what that equals, okay? Now, this is where it gets really exciting and interesting as far as what we could see for XRP this bull run. In yesterday's video, it was titled, shocking. I had to, spice it up a little bit with the shocking $100 XRP simple math is what I called it. And I used the real world example of the order books and the market cap multiplier. And the multiplier that we saw yesterday was 267. And so we ran with that and we said, how much would it take for XRP? How much money needs to come into XRP from a net inflow perspective to see XRP at $100? Well, if you're running with a multiplier of, 260, 270, whatever it was, you're looking at 21 billion. Only 21 billion. Mind you, JP Morgan predicts 4 to 8 billion of inflows into the XRP ETFs year 1. So 21 billion if our market cap multiplier is 270. If the multiplier was only 100, you would only need 58 billion to come into XRP to reach a $100 price target. If you want to get more conservative and only use a 50x multiplier, it's only 117 billion of net inflows into XRP to reach that $100 price target. Now, how realistic is, that much in inflows for XRP? 20 billion, 50 billion, 117 billion. How likely is that? Well, it's not too far off because we can already see the inflows, the major amounts of inflows that are coming into the other crypto ETF products like the Bitcoin and Ethereum spot ETFs. So Kobesi Letter reports that the crypto funds posted 882 million in net inflows last week. And remember, net inflows means you're taking the inflows, you subtract the outflows, and that gives us the 882 million of net inflows. So this is accounting for all the people that sold off as well. But this is the 4th consecutive weekly inflow. So 4 weeks of more money coming in to the crypto funds than going out. Bitcoin funds accounted for the majority of inflows at 867 million. So in 1 week, 867 million of net inflows just into the Bitcoin funds. This is the power of the ETFs. And right now, Bitcoin and Ethereum, I think, are the only ones that have the spot ETFs. I know Litecoin, Dogecoin, XRP, all these other spot ETFs have been delayed. And right now, I think the only ETFs that we have live that are spot are Bitcoin and Ethereum. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments down below, but that's all we have for right now. Now, there's a few other basket ETFs that I think do hold spot. And there's obviously futures ETFs that have gone live for XRP. But these are, spot ETF products that are actually backed by the underlying asset, whether that be Bitcoin, Ethereum, or the spot ETFs for XRP that are around the corner that will be backed by physical XRP. But year to date, investors have poured a whopping 6.7 billion into crypto funds. As a result, US listed ETFs have recorded cumulative net inflows of 62.9 billion since their launch in January of 2024. Meanwhile, Bitcoin has risen about 28% since its April 7th low. Bitcoin is preparing for new all-time highs. Yeah, sure. What we're looking at here, though, hard data. This is not me speculating and pulling numbers out of the sky. trying to hype anybody up. This is us just acknowledging the hard data that we have in front of us, which is 62.9 billion of net inflows into the US listed ETFs since January of 2024. So in a little over a year, basically 63 billion of net inflows into these products. Okay, when the XRP spot ETFs go live, we're going to be getting a piece of this action. And in fact, this is going to grow, right? And I actually think that the XRP ETFs are going to give the Bitcoin ETFs a run for their money, because you're seeing the same dynamic play out in the retail space right now, where retail wants to skip over Bitcoin and go into meme coins, and they want to go into XRP and other, utility cryptocurrencies. They don't care for Bitcoin. Bitcoin's boring. They don't see the potential upside in Bitcoin, so they go into meme coins and XRP. In similar fashion, I think that you're going to see the institutions, once they can provide these products, the funds are going to flow into the XRP ETFs. Now, is it going to be to the tune of the Bitcoin ETF inflows that we see? That's yet to be seen, but I think it's going to be close, and I think it's going to be a heck of a lot better than the inflows that we've seen into the Ethereum ETFs. Those have been a dud. Why? There's not much interest in Ethereum, right? There's a lot of interest in XRP. And so we have hard data right now that's telling us we've already seen over 60 billion of inflows into these products in a little over a year. What's going to happen when the XRP ETFs go live? I think it's pretty safe to say that we're going to get at least a fraction of that. We're going to see, as JP Morgan predicts, 4 to 8 billion. I think that's conservative. Could you see 10 to 20 billion? Why not? See, this is where we start to talk about double-digit XRP with ease. Double-digit XRP with ease. And this is where we start to have a conversation about even a triple-digit XRP. Now, this is the Bitwise XRP ETP, and they're getting ready, to sell all of these products. But here's the key point right here. These are 100% physically backed. You are legally entitled to the underlying XRP, and you can redeem the ETP for the cryptocurrencies alternatively to selling on exchange. So this is what causes the supply shock, and this is what brings a lot, billions upon tens of billions of inflows into XRP. And then it's just to us to speculate and debate based off of these inflows that are coming. That's without a doubt. The inflows are coming. Now it's just us up to debate and speculate on how high XRP will go. You want more data to show you the XRP activities picking up? Right here, we got XRP leading the pack in South Korea with 1.2 billion in retail trading volume, overtaking Bitcoin and Ethereum and Upbit. The Koreans are more interested in XRP than Bitcoin and Ethereum, full stop. Hard data to back it up. Hard data to back it up. It's not even close. In South Korea, they want to trade and own XRP more so than Bitcoin and Ethereum, and it's not even close. And if you think that that's just a dynamic that's going to play out in Korea, you would be very wrong. You would be mistaken. We're seeing the same thing taking place in other jurisdictions as well. Now, Anom, who is a big key opinion leader, KOL, influencer within the DGen ecosystem. He says, don't know why, but really feels like XRP is going to have one of the runs Doge had last cycle, whereas XRP BTC pair just goes way higher than any previous cycle. I still do not understand this coin. Why am I sharing this? Some DGen influencer getting excited about XRP? It all relates back to XRP having the spotlight on it. All attention on XRP, whether it be the suits and the institutions getting ready to come into XRP, or whether it be the DGens coming into XRP. I responded to Anom and I said this: XRP memes with DeFi and ETFs on the way, yes, much higher this cycle. It really shouldn't be that hard to understand. But some of these guys, they're still trying to wrap their brains around it. We're trying to get them caught up to speed. And these guys don't have any idea about the meme coins on XRP. They're just now starting to discover this. They don't know that we're actually starting to get DeFi. This is not just a banker's coin that we're all just buying and holding. our activity slowly starting to pick up. We still have a long ways to go, but when you bring in the degens, when you bring in the suits, it equates to that XRP price going a lot higher. Now, a quick look at our markets before I wrap up this episode right here. Bitcoin daily candle turned green as we're back up to 103,589. And then we have XRP back up to 254, about to flip green on the daily chart. We did close off the day at about 254. That's right where we're at right about now. You guys saw that my target has already been hit. We're already into my purple box. And I'm expecting XRP to actually move higher towards the $3 region by the end of this month. So watch out for that. Still expecting XRP higher the rest of this month. Okay? So I hope that you guys are ready. We got major inflows coming into XRP. You know, 2 + 2 still equals 4, even in new mass. Even in the common core new mass that they're messing kids up with, 2 + 2 still equals 4. What we can see right now, 63 billion of net inflows into the crypto ETFs, a little over a year of them being live, right? And when XRP ETFs go live, we're going to get a piece of this action. In fact, we might get a lot. And so it's up to us to now, you guys can let me know in the comments down below, how much of these inflows are we going to see? JP Morgan predicts 4 to 8 billion. Do you think we get more? Do you think we get less? Let me know in the comments down below. I'll see you guys here back tonight live at 10 p.m. Eastern for our regular Tuesday, Thursday live shows every Tuesday, Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern. Hope to see you back here. And if you appreciate our content, make sure you're liking these videos, helping us out by sharing them out far and wide. And all of our community resources are available, linked up at zachrector.com in the description down below. Okay, appreciate your support. We'll see you tonight. God bless. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.